This week, there was a brand new preview of Aerosoft's CRJ for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Asobo worked with various studios to rebuild Japan, and there's a long list of upcoming fixes and improvements. Let's take a look. Perhaps one of the more anticipated planes is the CRJ from Aerosoft. Not only is this a highly desired plane, but developers Aerosoft have hinted that it's likely to be one of the most detailed and realistic planes so far released for the sim. This week, the publisher released a new video giving us a first look inside the cockpit of the CRJ. So it's certainly clear that the cockpit is very detailed. You can see that from this video. Right now, all of these buttons and switches aren't actually hooked up to any functions. That is Aerosoft's next task. This video then is certainly very much a work in progress, but it's great to be given this level of insight into the development of the next plane. Right now, there's no release date. However, Aerosoft have previously stated that their first plane won't be available for many months after the release of Microsoft Flight Simulator. But when it is released, it will be available on the Sims in-game marketplace from Aerosoft as a paid item. It will also be available on Aerosoft's website, but as yet, no prices have been set. Yesterday saw the announcement of the World Update 1, which will be releasing next week on the 29th of September and will be free to all users of Flight Simulator. The update will contain a massive overhaul of Japan, including 6 photogrammetry cities, 6 airports, and a completely new height map and terrain data for the entire country. Now, in the latest development update, Microsoft spoke of how this update, the new Japan update, like all other work on the simulator, was a collective effort between numerous studios. In this case, Gaia Simulations, the well-known third-party sim studio, developed 3 of the 6 airports. Gaia Simulations were actually intended to be the subject of this week's Partnership Series video, however that has now been moved to next week. Meanwhile, Black Shark AI, who are responsible for the AI-generated towns, villages and cities within the sim, created the new Japanese-based architecture that will be available as a part of the update. Now, the number of different studios that Microsoft are working with on this sim really does continue to surprise me. And of course, all of this work by the other studios was stitched together along with a lot of additional work by Asobo Studio, who of course are the Sims developers and, the people behind the sim. Now, moving on, the latest feedback snapshot includes a long list of items. You can see this list on the screen right now. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I want to mention a few that really do stand out for me, and this is either because I've directly experienced them myself, have seen them widely mentioned on the internet, or because they're just especially interesting. The first thing that stands out then is the reference to DirectX 12. This is something that Asobo have already confirmed they are working on, however it's nice to see another reference here. In this case, it's the grainy looking reflections that they're talking about, and they say it's something that will be fixed with the DirectX 12 update. Now, right now, there's no release date for the DirectX 12 version of the sim. It may be quite a long way out, or it could be relatively close, but there's nothing there on the roadmap just yet. Anyway, DirectX 12, of course, is a big deal because it likely means both improved graphics as well as improved performance. Elsewhere on the list, the new problems introduced with patch 2, and there were many of them, but one specific one broke the Airbus A320 for many people, and this will be fixed with the Japan update. So this will actually fix the issue where the left engine keeps on failing. I know a number of people have had this. The problems with the Garmin G1000, G3000 and the related autopilot issues are a work in progress, so this means that Asobo have acknowledged the problems and are working on a fix. There's another reference here, the dreadful performance, which hit many people since the launch of the sim, is something that I did point out very early on. These were fixed in patch 2 last week. But in a recent poll on my YouTube channel, over 50% of simmers stated that the patch did improve performance for them. However, a significant number of people also said that the patch made performance worse for them. So it seems that work still needs to be done in this area. Also, there's a lot of claims that I've seen where some people have stated that the update caused a graphics downgrade for them, essentially a reduction in ground texture resolutions. This is something that Asobo say they are investigating. Now, for the full list of all the feedback, you can see that the link in the video description. There's also a wishlist feedback snapshot, and this includes the top 20 highest voted requests on the forum. Like I say, you can see the full list on the screen right here. It's also linked in the video description. Here are 3 that really stand out for me. The remove press any key button, and that's the thing when you first load up the sim, it just goes through the splash screens and, well, you get this press any key message and the sim won't load until you press any key. Bit annoying, so I can totally understand why it's the top wished for change. Personally, I'd also like to see the ability to skip those splash screens, unless of course there's some loading hidden behind them, because it does add to the loading time somewhat unnecessarily, I think. A replay function is also highly desired. That's something I'd very much like to see myself as well. It would be great for YouTube videos, amongst many other things. And right here on this list, there's also another mention for DirectX 12. So 20 nice requests here. One particular thing that does seem to be now missing, that's been there for months, well, pretty much since the beginning of the year actually, was the reference to seasons. So that's no longer there. I guess perhaps no interest in that at the moment, but we'll have to see. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.